सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ श्री गणेशाय नमः। ॐ श्री सरस्वत्यै नमः। ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवं परमानन्दमाधवम्। सर्ववेदान्तसिद्धान्त गोचरं तमगोचरं गोविन्दं परमानन्दं सद्गुरुं प्रणतोऽस्म्यहम्। So the last section that we were seeing in the last session, Bhagavan Shankaracharya ji is explaining how in that Supreme Self there is not even a trace of duality. एकात्मके परे तत्वे भेदवार्ता कथं भवेत्. Verse number 404. सुषुप्तौ सुखमात्रायां भेदः केन अवलोकितः. He says, in that supreme reality, even talk of duality is not possible. Just as in deep sleep, when there is only joy, who has seen the difference? Nobody has seen the difference. Difference cannot exist in deep sleep. If it cannot exist in deep sleep, what to talk about that supreme reality? Even Bheda Varta is not possible. Even talk of duality is not possible. And therefore, Nahi asti Vishwam Paratattva Bodhat. Once through the realization of that supreme Brahman or supreme self, one has understood rather the oneness with the supreme Brahman. Sadatmani Brahmani nirvikalpe nahi asti Vishwam. There is no world at that point of time. Kalatraye, even in 3 periods of time it is not there. Means what? Even when we thought that there is world, the world was not there. Even when we started to realize that the world is unreal, the world is not there. And on realization, when we understand or when we experience Brahman alone, even then the world is not there. 2 examples he gives here. One is of course of rope and snake, and another is of mirage. Both examples we have seen the difference between illusion and delusion. Right? Mirage is the example of illusion, of sight, of perception. Whereas snake is because of delusion alone. In both cases, even when we are seeing it as snake, even when we are realizing that it is not a snake, and even when we experience the rope, the snake is never there. In the same way, the world is not there. Then comes the very powerful verse number 406. Maya matramidam dvaitam advaitam paramarthataha. This is what makes Advaita Vedanta philosophy as not just a darshana, but as truth, satyam. That's why in all other philosophies are considered to be points of view, schools of philosophy. But Advaita is considered as truth. Why? Because paramarthataha, from that absolute reality, there is only non-duality. Maya matramidam dvaitam. Duality is only an illusion, maya matram, or measured by maya. That much only is duality. Paramarthataha advaitameva. Right? Iti brute shruti sakshat. Shruti herself is saying this. It is not just a statement of intellectualization, but it's a statement of scriptures. And we have seen through Shruti, Yukti, Anubhuti, through all kinds of Vidvat Anubhuti, through all the means we have seen that Advaita is the Paramarthika Satya, is the absolute truth. Then, if Advaita is the truth, then what about the world? You said that the world is not there, but we are experiencing that world is nothing but its substratum, the reality alone. Ananyatvam adhishthanat aropyasya nirikshitam. Adhishthanat aropyasya ananyatvam nirikshitam. The superimposed is non-different from the substratum. That is what is seen. That is what is experienced. By whom? Panditaihi, by wise people. Like what? Rajju sarpadavu. Like in case of rope and snake. Snake is nothing but rope alone. Therefore, vikalpaha, bhranti jivanaha, the duality is only a delusion. Born from what? Born from mind. Chitta mulo vikalpoyam. This duality is born from mind. Where is chitta bhavena kasyana? When the mind is not there, the duality is not there. We see that in deep sleep also. Ataha chittam samadhehi pratyakrupe paratmani. Therefore, immerse your mind in that supreme self, and then there will be no experience of any kind of duality. Then came 3 verses explaining how that realized person Hridi kalayati vidvan brahma purnam samadho. How that vidvan purnam brahma hridi samadho kalayati. How that vidvan jnani in meditation samadho hridi in one's own heart realizes, experiences kalayati what? Purnam brahma, infinite Brahman. How does he do that? So all the words which are there now in the verse 409, 410 and 411. In these 3 verses, the rest of the words are adjectives for that Brahman. Kimapi, something. Satatabodham, continuous consciousness. Kevalānandarūpaṃ, of the nature of just bliss. Nirupamam, without any upama, without any simile, without any comparison. Ativelam, beyond limitations, boundaries. Nityamuktam, ever liberated. Niriham, without any iha, action. Niravadhi gaganabham, it is like the limitless space. Nishkalam, without any parts. Nirvikalpam, without any duality. That kind of Brahman, this jnani realizes during the meditation in one's own heart. He continues, Prakriti Vikriti Shunyam, devoid of Prakriti and Vikriti. What is Prakriti and Vikriti? Prakriti means Maya. Vikriti is the result of Maya, which is the world. Right? Devoid of both of these. Bhavana Atita Bhavam. Beautiful. What a word. Bhavana Atita. Atita means beyond emotions. Bhavana. But Bhavam. Bhavam means existence. It is not bhavana, but it is bhava. Bhavarupa means it is there. It's not absence of something. It is positive presence. This Brahman is bhavanatita bhavam. Samarasam asamanam. Samarasam means homogeneous. Asamanam, which is not equal to anything else. There is nothing equal to it. Asamanam, incomparable. Mana sambandha duram. It is far from any connection with mana. Mana can be taken as pramana. Any kind of authority or means it does not have. Or mana also can be taken as measurement. It is beyond any kind of connection with any measurement in space, time or object. You can't measure that Brahman. Nigama vachana siddham. Nigama vachana siddham, that which is established by the statements of the Vedas, by the Shruti. Nityam asmat prasiddham, and always it is well known as this asmat, this I. That Brahman, this jnani realizes. Ajaram, without old age. Amaram, without death. Asta abhava vastu svarūpam. Another beautiful word. Asta abhava vastu svarūpam. Vastu svarūpam. It is reality which is asta abhava, which is without or which is devoid of any abhava, absence. It is real. We can't even say object. It is something which is very much real. It is real reality which is devoid of any absence. Stimita salila rashi prakhyam. It is like prakhyam. Prakhyam means like rashi. Rashi means heap or collection of salila, water. So collection of water is ocean. Stimita, which has suddenly become stunned. Last session I was mentioning, in the old serials, etc., in Mahabharata, Ramayana, etc., when they want to show that God appeared and God is angry or something happened, then suddenly what they will show is the whole world becomes stunned. It stops. And how will they show this? So they will show that the waves are coming, but in between only it stops. You imagine the whole ocean is just stopped. Why are we talking about this still? To show that there is nothing, no movement, there is nothing happening. Because of movement, at least you can make a distinction. This is different from that. There is no movement, you can't even make any distinction. That is how this Brahman is. Akhya vihinam, it is without any akhya name. Shamita guna vikaram, it is without any guna, without any vikara. Without guna qualities, vikara modification, shamita are not there. Shashvatam, eternal. Shantam ekam, and it is one, and it is peace. That Purnam Brahma, that infinite Brahman, Vidwan, this jnani, samadhau hridhi kalayati, during the meditation realizes in one's own heart. Now, after seeing this, now we have two verses which you can say as Upadesha of Bhagavan Sri Shankaracharya ji, or you can even take it as blessings of Bhagavan Shankaracharya ji. He is giving us personal blessings that may this happen to you. What is that? Let us read verse number 412. Samāhitāntaḥkaraṇaḥ svarūpe. Vilokayātmānamakhaṇḍavaibhavam. Vicchinddhi bandhaṃ bhavagandhagandhitaṃ. Yatnena puṃstvaṃ saphalīkuruṣva. Samāhitāntaḥkaraṇaḥ svarūpe. vilokayātmānamakhaṇḍavaibhavam. vicchinddhi bandhaṃ bhavagandhagandhitaṃ. yatnena puṃstvaṃ saphalīkuruṣva. Svarūpe samāhita antahkaraṇaḥ. Antahkaranam is a neuter gender word. Antahkaranam means the inner equipment. But here you see samāhita antahkaraṇaḥ. It's pullinga. Why? Because we are talking about a person who has samāhita, united antahkaranam. A person who has united his inner equipment where? Svarūpe. In one's own nature. So samāhitāntaḥkaraṇaḥ is the person. one who has united his or her mind or inner equipment in his or her own nature. Atmanam akhandavaibhavam vilokaya. Having done this, having merged your mind in that real nature of the inner self, what do? Vilokaya. Vilokaya, may you realize blessing. May you realize what? Atmanam. May you realize the self, which is how? Akhandavaibhavam, which is of unbroken glory. Self is of unbroken glory. May you come to realize. And then what? Vicchinddhi. Vicchinddhi, may you cut. May you totally destroy. What? Bhavagandhagandhitaṃ bandhaṃ. Bandhaṃ, bondage. Bondage of what? Bhavagandhagandhitaṃ. Beautiful. Gandhitam. Gandhitam means which is having a foul smell. Of what? Bhavagandha. Of many, many births. See, when we do some kind of activity where our hands etc. become dirty and we wash it away and we feel, so nice. It was so disgusting thing was there and now I washed. Now how nice. Imagine we are carrying the dirt of ignorance for so many births. Therefore, he is telling, cut that bondage. That foul smelling bondage which is carrying the foul smell of so many births. Cut it. Bhavagandhagandhitaṃ bandhaṃ vicchinddhi. How? Yatnena. By putting efforts. Not that it will suddenly happen. Put efforts and it will happen. And then what? Puṃstvaṃ saphalīkuruṣva. Saphalīkuruṣva. Kuruṣva means make. Saphali with phala, with result. Means what? Make it fruitful. What? Puṃstvaṃ, your human birth. You being a human, make it worthwhile. Make it purposeful. Make it fruitful. How? By realizing that self and by giving up the bondage, by cutting the bondage. May you come to what? May you come to fulfill the purpose of your human life. That is why we can take this as instruction from Bhagavan Shankaracharya, which is Upadesha from him. Or we can take it as blessing. That he is blessing that may such thing happen to you. samāhitāntaḥkaraṇaḥ svarūpe ātmānamakhaṇḍavaibhavam vilokaya. Realize the self. Bandhaṃ vicchinddhi. Break the bondage. Yatnena. See, again yatnena here we can call it as Dehli Dipanyaya. Dehli Dipanyaya, the word which is placed in a particular place, that it gives meaning on both sides. So yatnena vicchinddhi. Yatnena saphalīkuruṣva. It gives meaning to both sides. Fulfill your purpose of human life. That is what you should do. He continues blessing in the next verse also. Let us see. Verse number 413. sarvopādhivinirmuktaṃ saccidānandamadvayam bhāvayātmānamātmasthaṃ na bhūyaḥ kalpase'dhvane sarvopādhivinirmuktaṃ saccidānandamadvayam bhāvayātmānamātmasthaṃ na bhūyaḥ kalpase'dhvane. What is he saying? Sarva upādhivinirmuktaṃ, which is totally freed from all kinds of conditionings. Saccidānandam advayam. Now all these words are well known to us. Saccidānandam, of the nature of existence, consciousness, bliss. Advayam, non-dual. Atmanam, that self. Atmastham, which is seated, which is staying in your own heart, not somewhere else. Bhavaya, that you realize. May you realize this. Then what? Na bhūyaḥ adhvane kalpase. Then bhūyaḥ again. Adhvane in samsara. Adhvan, nakaranta shabda. In this samsara, na kalpase, you will not come back. Once you realize this, once you come out of this, you will never come back to this samsara. Kathopanishad says, sodhvanah paramapnoti. Saha, such a person, adhvanah paramapnoti. He reaches the other shore of samsara. Never comes back to samsara. So that's what you should also become. Bhavaya, realize the self which is seated in your own heart as that existence, consciousness, bliss, non-dual reality. And then what? Then never come back in this samsara. Never come back in this samsara means, may you never come back means what? You will not come back. Once we realize the self, we will not come back. Kalpase is Madhyam Purusha because he is talking directly to us. You will not come back. That's what Shankaracharya is saying. Right? So that is what he says. Realize that supreme self, go beyond birth and death, never to come back, never to return. Apunaravriti marga. Not even apunaravriti marga, because apunaravriti marga is for kramamukti. This is here itself. You will reach that state and you will never come back to samsara. Completely, what we can say, escaped. Gone, beyond. That's what will happen. Now, as the last 5 verses of this section, Shankaracharya again reminds us that be careful with this attachment to the body. It is so interesting that the topic with which we start, that is generally the topic with which he ends also. He is telling even now, even after reaching such a high position, such a high state, where you are so close to realizing that Brahman and experiencing that Jivan Mukti Ananda, even now, don't fall for the body. Remember, we are into Brahmatmana Samsthiti. Brahmatmana Samsthiti is the 8th step in that entire series, you know. And in that also we are in the last 5 verses. He has explained so many points, but even now he says, be careful about this attachment to the body. Why does he say that? Why? Because that is the last string which is to be cut. Everything in the world is connected to us through the body. And therefore, you cut your attachment to the body and everything else will go away. That is what he does. He gives beautiful examples. How should we look at our body? In progression, he gives examples. We will see. Verse number 414. Chāyeva puṃsaḥ paridṛśyamānam. Ābhāsarūpeṇa phalānubhūtyā. śarīramārācchavavannirastaṃ. punarna saṃdhatta idaṃ mahātmā. chāyeva puṃsaḥ paridṛśyamānam. ābhāsarūpeṇa phalānubhūtyā. śarīramārācchavavannirastaṃ. punarna saṃdhatta idaṃ mahātmā. He says, see the last pada. Mahātmā idam shariram punah na saṃdhatte. Saṃdhatte idam. Because of sandhi, that saṃdhatte becomes saṃdhatta. because of sandhi rule. What is the actual word? Saṃdhatte. Saṃdhatte means takes or attaches. Na saṃdhatte, does not get attached, doesn't take up. Who? Mahātmā, that great jnani. Idaṃ śarīram punaha na saṃdhatte, doesn't get attached to this body again. Ārat. Śarīram ārat. Ārat means by far such a person doesn't get attached to the body again. How is this body? Now that is explained in the rest of the verse. phalānubhūtyā ābhāsarūpeṇa paridṛśyamānam. Body is phalānubhūtyā, owing to the result, or rather experiencing the results of our past actions. In order to do that, ābhāsarūpeṇa paridṛśyamānam, that which is seen as an appearance. See, look at Shankaracharya, okay? He is not even saying that the body is actually there. See, in Tattvabodha, etc., how do we say, what is this body? Gross body, what is this? So we say, panchīkrita panchamābhūte kritam sat karmajanyam sukha dukkhādi bhoga ayatanam shariram asti jayate vardhate viparinamate apakshayate vinashyati iti षड्विकारवद etat sthula shariram. This body, which is made up of 5 gross elements, which has come for what? Out of prarabdha, karmajanyam. Then what? Sukha dukkhādi bhogayatanam. In order for us to experience the joys and sorrows, the results of our past actions, this body has come. That is what we say. Now at this stage, Shankaracharya is not saying that the body is there. He says, ābhāsarūpeṇa paridṛśyamānam. It just appears to be there like an appearance. Paridṛśyamānam, it is seen, but ābhāsarūpeṇa. It is seen like an appearance. Like what? Example. First example, puṃsaḥ chāyeva, like a shadow of a person. Like a shadow of a person. Puṃsaḥ, for a person, chāyeva, like a shadow. Means what? It appears to be there, but it is not a real entity. When we are walking and that shadow is there and something goes on the shadow, suppose the car goes over our shadow, so what? Anything happens to us? No. Why? Because shadow is so to say there, but so to say not there. Means what? ābhāsarūpeṇa paridṛśyamānam. It is seen, but it is just an appearance. The body is also like that. It is seen, but it is just an appearance. Seen, why? Why is it seen? To go through the results of our own actions. And therefore, this jnani gives up the attachment with the body so far that never takes it again. Never gets attached to this body again. Now to explain this, one more example he gives. You see, śarīramārācchavavannirastaṃ. Nirastaṃ means discarded, given up, thrown away. Shava means dead body. Shavavat, like a corpse, like a dead body, corpse. Like how once the dead body is, once the body is discarded, once it becomes a dead body, the jiva doesn't come back. Jiva doesn't take it back. In the same way, jnani has given up the identification with the gross body and he never takes it back. This shavavat actually has two meanings. Now you see here what is happening is, he is giving two examples. One is of shadow, another is of dead body. Okay. What is the point? The point is jnani doesn't get attached to the body again. That is the main point. So either we can say that he looks at the body as though it is a shadow, as though it is an appearance, and therefore discards that body as though it is a corpse, as though it is a dead body. One meaning. Or second meaning, how the jiva gives up the body, the jnani gives up the identification with the body. two ways to look at this verse. Main point remains same. Two examples also are same. But how are we going to connect those two examples? That's a little slight difference is there. Either we can say that the jnani looks at this body as a shadow, and therefore when the time comes, gives it up. One way of looking at it. Another way of looking at it, just as the jiva doesn't take up the dead body again, in the same way, jnani also doesn't take the identification with the body again. So either you connect two examples or you keep them separate. Whichever way we want to see, we can see. What is the point? The point is, once jnani has given up the identification, he doesn't take it back. Okay, Vedji, so what is the big point? The point is, if jnani doesn't take it back, we also should not take it back. Siddhasya lakshanani sadhakasya sadhanani. What is natural to the jnani should be practiced by us. So look at the jnani. He doesn't take back his identification with the body. You also don't do it. Once you have given up, just look at the body as though it is some kind of shadow. Seen, but not there. Or you look at the body as a dead body. Dead body being carried by some sentient entity. Let it be there, let it not be there. Don't give so much of attention. That is what you should do. Now, one more example. He adds 415. satatavimalabodhānandarūpaṃ sametya tyaja jadamalarupopadhimetam sudure atha punarapi naisha smāryatāṃ vāntavastu smārana vishaya bhūtam kalpate kutsanaya. satatavimalabodhānandarūpaṃ sametya tyaja jadamalarupopadhimetam sudure atha punarapi naisha smāryatāṃ vāntavastu smārana vishaya bhūtam kalpate kutsanaya. satatavimalabodha anandarūpaṃ sametya samyak etya. Etya means attaining, reaching. Samyak, well. Attaining well, what? Satata, always. Vimala, extremely pure. Bodha, consciousness. Ananda, bliss. Rupam, nature. Once having well attained one's own nature of consciousness, bliss, which is always there and ever pure, once having attained it, tyaja jadamala rupa upadhim etam. Tyaja, give up. What? Etam, this. Jada mala rupa upadhim. This upadhi, this conditioning called as gross body, which is jada and mala, which is inert, jada and mala. It is extremely impure. This upadhi, this gross body, tyaja, give it up. In some pathas of Vivekachoodamani, first line satatavimalabodhānandarūpaṃ swametya. Instead of sametya, it is swametya. That is also fine. Swam means you yourself. Etya, having attained. There is not much difference in the meaning. Having well attained one's own eternal, pure nature of consciousness bliss, tyaja, give up. Etam, give up this, what? Upadhim, this conditioning which is inert and which is impure. And then what? Atha punaha api. Then after, once you have given up, then afterwards, eshaha na smāryatāṃ. Don't even remember it. Don't even think of it. Don't even remember that once upon a time you had something called as gross body. Don't even think of it. Why? Because example he gives, vanta vastu smarana vishaya bhutam api kutsanaya kalpate. Vanta vastu. Vanta means vomited. Vastu means something. Something that is vomited, smarana vishaya bhutam. Even if it comes to your mind as a memory, kutsanaya kalpate, you feel a kind of disgust. Isn't it? Don't you? Now, if that is the case, then this gross body, the identification with the gross body is also like that vomited object. Once you have thrown it out, forget about taking it in again. Don't even think of it. Don't even remember it. Why? Because even mere remembrance of it is even disgusting. Even that is disgusting. And therefore, once you have thrown it out, don't even think about it. Nasmaryatam. Okay? See, what is happening now? Slowly. First he gave nice example, chāyeva, like a shadow. Then he gave little harsh example of dead body, shavavat. Now he is giving little harsh, more harsh example of vanta vastu, a vomited object. Don't even think of it. Like that, identification with the body is thrown out. Don't think again. That is what he is saying. Now what does this jnani do now? That is explained now. Verse 416. Samūlametat paridṛśyamān sadatmani brahmani nirvikalpe tatasvayam nitya vishuddha bodha ānandatmana tisthati vidvarishthaḥ. The second line should be chanted together, entire line. Then it will be in proper meter. Samūlametat paridṛśyamān sadatmani brahmani nirvikalpe tatasvayam nitya vishuddha bodhānandatmana tisthati vidvarishthaḥ. See? Nitya vishuddha bodhānandatmana. One word, no? So therefore chanted together. What is he saying? Etat samūlam paridṛśya. Having totally burnt this, what is this? This identification with gross body, samūlam, along with its moola root. What is the moola of identification? Ignorance, ajnana. So having burnt identification and its cause ignorance, where one know? In the fire of knowledge. Knowledge of what? Sadatmani brahmani nirvikalpe. In the knowledge of one being, that satatma, pure existence self, brahmani nirvikalpe, that absolute Brahman, having burnt this identification and its cause, the ignorance, tataha, thereafter, see the last word, vidvarishthaḥ. Vidvarishthaḥ, varishtha means greatest, with knower, the greatest among the knowers of reality. Remember, when we were seeing just couple of sessions back, Sapta Bhumikas, remember? 7 stages we were seeing. And that time we said that fourth Bhumika onwards, it is realized person only. And therefore, we had given names. Brahmavit. Remember? What were the names that we had given? Brahmavit is for fourth bhumika. Brahmavit Vara for fifth bhumika. Brahmavit Variyan. And then for seventh bhumika, Brahmavit Varishtha. See, that is why we should study such texts under some teacher. See, Shankaracharya is not saying anywhere that he is talking about Saptabhumikas, right? But in the 400th verse and 399, he had given an indication by saying that this state is like dream or like deep sleep. So, the world appears like dream or world does not appear at all. By saying that it is Asat Kalpam and Asat, has created that kind of distinction. It is only because of the great teachers like Gurudev etc. that we have this clear indication that yes, he is talking about Saptabhumika. Another indication of that is here he uses the word Vidvarishtha. See, here he is clearly saying that this person, so far he was using the word Mahatma, Vidwan. Now he has said Vidvarishtha, this best among the knowers of Brahman, this person who has reached the Saptabhumika, seventh Bhumika, Swayam, oneself, Nitya Vishuddha Bodha Ananda Atmana Tishtati, just remains. Remains as what? As that Atman, as the self, which is Nitya Vishuddha Bodha Ananda, which is of the nature of eternal, pure self, consciousness, bliss. Means what? He does not come back to the world. He doesn't come out of Nirvikalpa Samadhi. That's what was Sapta Bhumika, isn't it? Seventh Bhumika was for that. Till sixth Bhumika he comes out. Sixth Bhumika, when, helped by somebody else, he comes out of that Nirvikalpa Samadhi state. But the Sapta Bhumika, once he reaches that, doesn't come back. He remains Tishtati. He remains as what? He remains as that self. Absolutely. Why? Because Samulam Paridahya. He has burned the identification along with its root. Gone. They say no. Lock, stock and barrel. Done. Swamiji always says, Advayananji says, lock, stock and barrel. Done. The final nail in the coffin of ignorance. Done. Nothing more is to be done. This is what happens to this jnani. Now, he remains in Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Okay, fine. What happens to his body? What happens to his body? He doesn't come back. He's merged. Doesn't come out of Nirvikalpa Samadhi. What happens to body? Next verse. 417. Prarabdha sutra grathitam shariram prayatu vatishtatu gorivasrak natat punaf pashyati tattvaveta Anandatmani Brahmani Lina Vrittihi. Again here that Tattvaveta and Anandatmani, there is a sandhi there. Therefore better if we chant the whole line together. Let us read. Prarabdha sutra grathitam shariram prayatu vatishtatu gorivasrak natat Punaf pashyati tattvaveta-anandatmani brahmani lina vrittihi. Prarabdha sutra grathitam shariram. This sharira, this body, which is grathita, which is woven by the sutra, by the thread called prarabdha. Look at that poetry. He is saying this body is a cloth where the thread is prarabdha. Means what? that body will remain as long as the prarabdha is there. That body will go through all kinds of nonsense according to prarabdha. It will look like a most beautiful Miss World, Miss India, Mr. World, whatever at one point of time, and will look absolutely pathetic at other point of time. Why? Prarabdha sutra gratitam. This body, which is woven by the thread of prarabdha, prayatu va tishtatu. May it go away or may it remain. This jnani has nothing to do with it. Goho srak iva. Goho of the cow. Srak, garland, iva, like the garland of a cow. Now I don't know how many of you have observed this. Sometimes whenever the garland etc. is put on that cow, no, the cow has absolutely no regard for that garland. All villages etc. if you go to and you see, no, you will see this very often. The cow just sometimes chews it off and cuts it, or sometimes she just keeps walking and that garland gets stuck somewhere and gets cut and gets drops on the ground. She doesn't even look back. Goho srakiva. Look at that examples also that Shankaracharya is using. Like that garland of a cow, where the cow is totally indifferent whether the garland is there or it has fallen. The cow has not even recognition of it. Cow doesn't even know. See, beauty about this example is, cow is not purposely trying to throw away the garland. He is not doing like this so that garland will fall off. It's not even putting effort. If it is there, let it be there. If it falls off, let it fall off. That total indifference is what he wants to show through the example. See, elephant etc. if you see, you put something in that elephant's neck, that elephant feels very uneasy and wants to take it off. Have you seen? Elephant etc. is like that. You try to put something, no, they feel something is wrong and they want to take it off. Same thing happens with dogs also. You put something, initially when you put that leash etc. on the dog tries hard to get out of that leash. Anything that is put on the neck. But example Shankaracharya gives is of cow. Why? Cow doesn't care. Let that garland be there. Let that garland fall off. Let it get stuck somewhere. Let the flowers get rotten. Doesn't matter. In the same way, tattvavetta, the knower of reality, tat shariram, this body, na punaha pashyati, doesn't even look back. Means what? If that garland is there, let it be there. When that garland falls, the cow doesn't even look at that garland again. Cow keeps walking. In the same way, this jnani doesn't care about whether the body is there or not there. Another place, another verse is there which says, Tanum tyajatu va kashyam shvapachasya grhetava jnana samprapti samaye muktau sau. This person who has become liberated at the very moment of realization of knowledge, how does he care whether the body falls in Kashi or whether the body falls in the house of that Chandala, Shvapachasya, who eats dogs? He doesn't care what time the body falls in Uttarayana or Dakshinayana, whether it is falling off in an auspicious place like Kashi or in some other place. It doesn't matter to this person. Tattvavetta punaha na pashyati tat. The knower of reality doesn't look at it again. Anandatmani brahmani leena vritti. Why? Because his vritti is leena. Leena vritti. He has become Someone whose mind is merged, lina, where anandatmani brahmani, in that blissful self, in that Brahman, his mind is merged. He doesn't even look back at what is happening to the body. Now here you see the beauty of these four examples. First he said chayavat, chayeva. Chayeva means what? Whatever happens to the shadow doesn't happen to you. That is the first stage. So you understand that shadow is just an appearance. It is seen, but it is just an appearance. Then the next example was given was shavavat, like a dead body. Means what? Just walk away from it. Don't even worry about it. Third example was given was vanta vastu, where a kind of disgust is there, even remembering it. But you see, even that disgust is a hateful emotion, isn't it? The feeling of disgust is still a strong emotion. Now what is the final solution? Indifference. Indifference means, let it be there, let it not be there, I don't care. These are the four stages of giving up anything. It's a very high level of philosophy. See, for example, let me give a very colloquial example that we see in our everyday life. In any kind of relationship also, if you want to get out of that relationship, come out of that relationship, these are the four stages. First, you look at that relationship as just an appearance. Don't give reality. Means what? It is there because it is there. There is no emotional connect. Then you are ready to walk off. Why? Because you look at it as a dead entity. Then you hate even remembering those things. And finally you go beyond the hate and you say, I don't care. You see, if it is true for any relationship, it is the same logic for giving up your relationship with your body. Here Shankaracharya is not talking about any kind of love relationship or breakup and all those things. He is talking about breakup with body identification. And that also goes through the four stages, same four stages. First, you just look at it as though it is just there. Appearance is there. I don't care. It's not much of importance. Then you look at it as a dead thing because you know that it's done. Then you look at it with disgust, saying that I don't even want to remember. But then you go beyond and you say, I don't care. It is there. Okay. Not there. Okay. I don't care. This indifference is the final stage. Why? Because after that, nothing will come back. Even sometimes when there is hate, there is a chance of it coming back. Why? Because there is a high possibility that hate is a strong emotion. No. So hate changing into love is possible. But indifference changing into love is not possible. And that is why sometimes they say, even if you want to hate God, you hate God. Why? Because they know that once you start hating God, at some point of time you will start loving Him. But indifference has no future. So beautifully Shankaracharya has explained, once that identification with the body has ended, this is what it goes through. Chāyeva, shavavat, vanta vastu, and then goho srakiva. Like the garland of a cow, doesn't care. That is what happens. Now he gives reason why it happens like this in the last verse of this entire section. Verse number 418. Akhandanandamatmanam विज्ञाय स्वस्वरूपतः किमिच्छन् कस्य वा हेतोः देहं पुष्णाति तत्त्ववित्। अखण्डानन्दमात्मानं विज्ञाय स्वस्वरूपतः किमिच्छन् कस्य वा हेतोः देहं पुष्णाति तत्त्ववित्। तत्त्ववित्, the knower of reality, अखण्ड आनंदम आत्मानम स्वस्वरूपतः विज्ञाय, विज्ञाय having realized what? Akhandanandam atmanam, that self which is of the nature of unbroken bliss. Swaswarupatah, once that knower of reality has realized that self as one's own nature, kimichan, desiring what? Kim va hetoh, kasya va hetoh, for what purpose deham pushnati, would nourish his body. Once that jnani has realized one's true nature as that unbroken blissful self, why will he nourish and sustain the body? Why? Because the body is not there. Not just that body is not his, body is not there. It is like in my dream, I saw that I was married and I had 2 children. When I get up, will I think about how am I going to, take care of those children? What school should I put those children in? Should I put them in state board or ICSE or CBSE or what? Will I think about it? Should they become engineers or doctors or arts or what music they should study? Gone, over, topic closed. Why? Because that was in dream. You have woken up. You don't have kids. Now, if I don't have kids, why will I think about their nourishment? Once the person has realized that there is no body, how will he sustain the body? There is no body. Kimichan, desiring what? Kasya va hetoh, for what purpose? Deham pushnati, would that person nourish or pamper the body? Means what? Na pushnati, he will not do that. So, prayatuva tishtatuva, let the body fall off, go away, let the body stay. That tattvaveta, that knower of reality, tattvavit, knower of reality, has no concern for the body. Now the topic is complete. The topic which started from verse number 277, long back we started the topic. It started with this series of verses which said swadhyasa apanayam kuru, swa adhyasa apanayam kuru. Give up the identification with your own BMI, right? Then he explained the ego and what is the significance of giving up ego. And he explained that ego, even after giving up, it will come back, it will be revived. Don't let it come back, don't let it revive. All those points he had explained, right? Ahankara nasha. Then he explained pramada, how that ahankara will be renewed, revived. How? Through pramada. Remember the example of pramado vai mrityuhu. That example of ball falling on stairs. All that he had explained. If you can, you stop it at the first step. Once it starts going, it will become impossible for you to catch. So, don't let it slip off even for a moment. Pramada, don't do. Then he explained the importance of nirvikalpa samadhi. And finally, he explained now the means of nirvikalpa samadhi. And he has taken it to such an extent where he has explained how the 7 saptabhumikas are also there and how that final stage where the person, the jnani, remains in nirvikalpa samadhi, doesn't even come back. not on his own, nor even by somebody's help. Does not come out of nirvikalpa samadhi. What happens to the body? He has no connection, no concern for the body. May the body remain, may the body fall off. He has nothing to do with it. That is what happens. Okay. Where did we start? We started with jantunam narajanma durlabham ataf puṃstvaṃ tato viprata tasmat vaidika dharma marga parata vidvatvam asmat param atmanatma vivechanam svanubhavah brahmatmana samsthitihi. 8 steps. Now the final step, muktihi. No shatajanma koti sukritair punyer vina labhyate. Verse number 2 of Vivekachoodamani. Right? So we had seen all the steps so far. Narajanma, puṃstvaṃ, viprata, vaidika dharma marga parata. This is all sadhana chatushtaya and acquiring all the necessary qualifications. Tasmat vaidika dharma marga parata, up to that. Vidvatvam is shravanam. Atmanatma vivechanam mananam. Svanubhavaha nididhyasana. Su anubhavaha. And then what? Brahmatmana samsthitihi. Being established in that knowledge, in that realization of the self. At the end of at the end of nididhyasana, realization has happened. But how much are you one or engrossed in that nirvikalpa samadhi? Whether that Jivan Mukti Ananda is going to be there or not, that is explained by Brahmatmana Samsthiti. Now starts the last topic of the text, which is Muktihi, liberation. Now in Mukti also we always speak of 2 types of Mukti, Jivan Mukti and Videha Mukti. So starting from next verse, verse number 419 up to 554, 554th verse, Jivan Mukti is going to be explained. First, Shankaracharya will explain how the Jivan Mukta is freed from all the karmas. Then that Jivan Mukti Anubhava will be explained as Sarvatma Bhava, as that Asangatva, as that Advaita Anubhava, etc. And finally, he will speak of glory of Jivan Mukti. So starting from next verse 419 up to 554, he will speak of Jivan Mukti, and then from 555 to 575, 21 verses on Videha Mukti, and then he will conclude the text. That is what is now remaining. We are entering into the final stage of the text. Okay? We will see in the next session. All right. Ciao. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.